What up, creeps? Got a little story for you. Back in the 70s, I'm dating myself here. I used to be in Daytona Beach, Florida a lot of times. We would go there on weekends, had an extra house there. My parents would always take me there. And one of the things that I remember very vividly was the boardwalk. And one of the things that was both fascinating and terrifying for me at the same time was they had, I think they called it like a spook house, but it was a little haunt at the boardwalk. Just as you entered from I guess it would be the north side as you were walking to it, one of the first little attractions thing you would see on the Midway area before all the golf games and arcades and stuff like that was this little haunted house. And it used to terrify me when I was only about 6-7 years old or something like that. While it was fascinating, it also terrified me because there was this skeleton in this little, like a little plexiglass room that you could see. He was like right on like you had the entrance to the haunt, and then right above that, kind of on the roof of it, was this skeleton, and he was playing a piano. And if I remember correctly, he was in some sort of like a reddish outfit or something. But it was just a very crude prop, but it was really cool. His hands were going back and forth on the piano and playing music, and if I remember correctly, he'd kind of turn his head a little bit and look at you. And the entrance had like a fluorescent, back in the 70s and early 80s, one of the popular things was to have black lights and creepy posters and stuff like that. And at the entrance of this haunt was I think it was a skeleton, if I remember it right, kind of a skeleton with chains around him, and he was kind of I don't know, chained to a wall or something like that. I don't remember it exactly, but it was really creepy, and it was like greenish and had the fluorescent black light on it, and it stood out a lot. And I was so terrified when I was young, I would actually go as far around away from that as I could as I walked to the arcades and the other stuff that I wanted to do. I would practically be falling off of the main walkway of the boardwalk, right where the fence was, before you'd actually end up going onto the sand on the beach side. And I did that for a few years as I was real young, although then once I kind of got into my teens and stuff, it was something I wanted to do, and so I would actually go in there. Does anybody remember that haunt at the Daytona Beach Boardwalk back in the 70s and 80s? It was really cool. I really enjoyed it once I started going in it. And I remember there was like a slanted room, which was really cool. It was dark through most of the whole thing, and really tight passageways. You had to kind of feel your way through. It was, again, really tight, and you'd have to feel where the walls were so you knew where to turn. And they would have foot switches and stuff like that in there, which would trigger air cannons. It would also trigger some sort of a prop where all of a sudden the light would come on and be like barrels falling towards you or something like that. So there was a bunch of those type scares through there. There weren't any actors in it that I remember. It was just all, props and things like that were triggered by whatever you call them, the step, pressure sensitive step switches that would trigger all of them. And it was really cool back then because it was dark, tight. I don't even remember how much it cost. I'm sure it was pretty cheap back in the 70s and 80s. But does anybody remember that? Has anyone been to that back in those days? It was really cool. It's been gone for many, many years since then. But that was one of the first scary attractions that I ever did when I was younger. And on the one side, again, it terrified me. On the other side, it fascinated me, and so that might even be where I started to develop this enjoyment of horror and creepy things and haunts and stuff like that. Kind of going from one extreme of being terrified to now running my own haunted attraction. You got any experiences like that? What was your first scare? What was your first haunt? What do you remember that changed your life to where you absolutely love going to haunts and horror movies and haunted things and stuff like that? Put it in the comments below. Let me know any stories that you have, and let me know if you ever went to this Daytona Beach haunt and what you know about it. I tried to find some pictures online of it, couldn't find anything anywhere. I saw a few little posts where people were asking about that they remembered it, but they couldn't find any pictures or anything. Anyway, put your thoughts in the comment. What was the scariest thing for you when you were younger, or if you had been to this Daytona Beach haunt? We'll scare you real soon at Dr. Grimley's Haunted Trail.